Welcome back to the show. Let's go. Line number 10. Good morning, Peter Whittle. You're on the air, sir.
Hey, Patty, happy birthday. What is it, 30 today?
45 today, man.
Tell you, boys, it doesn't take long for a dull task, eh? I judge the birthdays by how big my kids are getting, and I realize, my God, where does time go?
My kids are huge, man. One of my sons is 6'7", and this is how old I'm getting. He dropped me off at the hockey game last night, so it's all pretty wild. It's happening very quickly.
I'm not quite there yet, but my 11-year-old, he's been playing hockey. He towers over my 14-year-old. I think I'm up for something like that as well. Right, feeding him is hard enough. Let alone paying all those fees for hockey.
Oh, no joke, man. The milk bill is breaking me alone.
Oh, honest to God, you know, that's an issue at our house. We go through 3 2-liters of milk every 2 days, and I realize that's more money than one of our car payments.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's hard on the pocketbook, but boy, you got to do what you got to do, right, to keep the kids healthy and fed and loved and taken care of. So that's it. I go without sometimes to make sure they have. So that's the way it goes.
Well, I think all parents do. But you know, think about it. What we can afford to do. Imagine those people out there living on real fixed incomes that are tight, and especially with the economy like it is, St. John's, it's booming for some people, not for others. And you know, what we talk about, you know, how much it costs for milk and to feed our kids and stuff. For some people out there, they got to make a choice between milk and a bottle of pop. They're going with the pop for 99 cents. It's a real shame, you know.
Yeah, but and you're absolutely right. But I think at some point there's also the option to have a drink of water. You know, so
well, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I had that rack with my kids. We cut out juice because dentist stuff is a big deal for us, and all the other issues. And they can drink Tropicana until it comes out their ears. And you know, like, let's drink water. It's, you know, our water in St. John's is better than water anywhere.
Absolutely, man. I need a bit of water here today. What else on your mind, Peter?
Patty, I just wanted to have a chat with you about of all things now, the PC leadership. I'm trying to figure out why it is that the PC party had a call for candidates, and I guess they had 3 people originally, and for various circumstances, one dropped out, and then the other guy was forced out. And I don't really want to get into those circumstances so much, or whether the process was fair or not fair. I've had my own opinions on that. But what I don't understand is, for all intents and purposes, Frank Coleman has won the PC leadership by acclamation. He's de facto the premier. And what I'm trying to figure out is, why is it that Tom Marshall's not resigning as soon as they had a de facto premier so that they could have that by-election in his seat and get the new premier in place as leader? Why is it going to be 6, almost 7 months, the province is without a premier that can be accountable to the people, who was elected, to serve in that role, elected to the House Assembly to serve in the role as premier, and get the ball rolling? I just don't understand any reason for having to go to a convention to go through a process when there is no one else. It's an acclamation. And I know in the past, when there's been acclamations, you haven't had to wait 6 months to put that particular person in as leader. I know in the Liberal Party, when Jim Bennett ran for leader at that time, and he was the only one, I think the next week he was the leader of the opposition. Now, he didn't last a long time at that particular time. There's some issues, but the point is, there is a process. The PC party has a constitution, and when somebody gets acclaimed, that's the process they should be looking at right now. And I don't understand really a rationale, or nobody's given me a rationale why we should go another 3 months without a premier, who is the leader of the PC party. It's one turn to be an interim leader when there isn't a leader, but they have, through acclamation, selected a new leader. They have a new leader.
Yep.
And I just think that they need to, I don't think for a minute that you have a new leader who is going to be the new premier, that there's not going to be conversations or on policy and expenditures and all that sort of stuff with the new guy that's coming in. And it just happens that this new guy is unelected, he's unaccountable, and he's still going to have say over what's going on. It'd be impossible to believe that it wouldn't happen. Obviously, it'd be unofficial, but, it really bothers me. And I think the answer bothers me even more. And I think the answer is that the legislation is pretty clear on the fact that once the new leader is sworn in, the clock starts counting down for an election. Yeah. The act says you have to have an election within 12 months. So the longer you put it out, the more time the government has to get its act in order to try and put its best face forward. I can understand that from a self-serving point of view. But by going about it this way, I think that Danny Williams in particular, who had great issues with the way people became premier without being elected to the position in the past legislation, to change that, they could hold off for, a couple of years or whatever the case may be. So right now I feel that the current Conservatives are certainly defeating the spirit of the law using the letter of the law. And I think it's unacceptable. I think people have to look at it. And Patty, I think what's really going on is that there's a big discussion going on between the federal governments and 5 provincial governments right now because 2015 is the year the federal election is due, according to the Fixed Term Act. And it's due, I think, in the fall of 2015. What I'm afraid is going to happen is you're going to see an announcement between these 5 provinces and the federal government saying, look, this is not a partisan issue. We can't have people going around campaigning on top of everyone, fatigue, voter turnout, all that stuff. So we're going to hold a federal election in the fall of 2015, and either you go in the spring of 2015 or you go in the spring of 2016. And of course, that'll be legitimate because the feds are talking about it and everything else. In our case, it isn't as legitimate because we should at least make a commitment to go in the spring of 2015 now before some agreement comes up so that we can legitimately have a premier in place that has a mandate from the people of Newfoundland and Labrador instead of putting it off potentially to the spring of 2016. It's a shell game and it's shameful.
Well, the timing is going to be questioned and critiqued. There's no doubt about it. I guess when they set a schedule for, and I'm not defending, I'm just going to take the other side of it just for the sake of conversation. When they set the schedule for the convention and the AGM, it was before they knew if there was going to be anybody or one person or 100 people that wanted to be the leader of the party. So I guess if there's people trying to schedule their participation in it, there is some merit to doing it on the schedule that they put forward, not knowing that there'd only be one person in the race. So there's something to that, though. I mean, and there is.
Well, let me just deal with that. And I know it is. I've been involved with helping schedule conventions and stuff. Yeah. The first thing you do when you have a vacancy is you have to make a call. And the call is for when people are a call for nominations and a deadline. In that process, you're also looking at the rules and the dates of the convention. So you have to plan a site, you book it in advance and stuff like that, just in case there's a competitive race. In this particular case, there was in the beginning, but that no longer exists. There's no delegated convention where people are going to come in, cast a vote for leader. That's not the case. There's not a ballot now. Which of the 3 do you want to select? That's not the case. Right now, you have an acclamation. You do not have a delegated convention. They can make a call. They're going to do their AGM. That's fine. There's nothing to prevent the PC party from doing its planned annual general meeting in July. But there's no reason the people of the province should have to endure another 3 months so the Tories can have another 12 months.
But what
so they have an 18-month extension to prevent the voters from this province from having a say on a mandate for their leader. That's how long it will have been before they have the election at this rate, since Kathy Dunderdale stepped down, and that's not what the process is supposed to be.
But, I mean, if he faces the people in Humber East in July, or whenever they call that particular by-election, I mean, that's where people get to have their initial say. The general election, the timing is exactly what is legislated, and the rules are very, very clear. So, I mean, I know why a lot of people...
No, it's not.
They are
if
clear.
You look at... They're clear, and that's why I'm saying it's the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law. The spirit of the law is you try to get the person who's been selected by a party outside of an election with a mandate to have an election within 12 months of he or she becoming leader of the party. What I am saying to you is the shell game is the individual is now the leader of the party. Technically, he's the leader of the party. It was an acclamation. There is no leadership convention. So from the moment he was acclaimed, should be the 12-month period, not add on another 3 months, whatever the case may be. It's a shell game, and I think it's about trying to extend out the date of the election as long as possible.
Yeah, but of course, and there's fixed election dates too, right? I mean, the one part about this is that I understand everyone's frustration, and in some regards, so am I.
Election dates are up for grab, right?
And he's not technically anything at this point. I mean, he's the premier waiting. We get it. It's very clear. The writing's on the wall. There's no other contestant, so he is the man who's going to assume the head of the party and de facto the premier. But I mean,
if he's de facto the premier, isn't he?
Well,
what serious policy decisions on direction of government can be made while this guy is going to take the reins in a couple of months?
All kinds of day-to-day business goes
without
on.
His participation.
Peter, nothing is stalled.
Why can't? Well, let's play devil's advocate there.
Sure.
You tell me. Give me a good reason why Tom Marshall shouldn't resign now and have this by-election out of the way. If he had done it a couple of weeks ago and the parties cooperated, Coleman could be on his feet in the House of Assembly today or next week defending the government instead of waiting another 3 months. It makes no sense to me.
Well, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to anybody, and I understand why people are frustrated with it. And no sense asking me for a good reason, because I don't have one to offer you, because I'm not...
Well, you're the medium. You're like the Speaker in the House. We ask questions through you, and other people hear it and answer the questions.
Yeah, no, I get it. And I prefer, in the future, Peter, if you refer to me as Mr. Speaker.
I'll do that. Mr. Speaker, happy birthday, Mr. Speaker, and thanks for your time, Mr. Speaker.
Peter, I always appreciate your time and the conversation.
Thank you.
Take care, man. All the best.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, Mr. Speaker is offered in the form of a comma in the House of Assembly far too often. Yes, bye, Mr. Speaker. What are you on tonight, Mr. Speaker?